Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today, we got another episode of reviewing NHL teams. So far as today, we got the Nashville Predators as we take a look at their kind of busy offseason as they made some nice little trades, a decent draft, and some decent free agency moves as well. But before we get into all that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to stop that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into talking about the Nashville Predators here. As you know, they had kind of a busy offseason this year, making some little retool moves, picking up Cody Glass, and also Philip Myers, and also adding David Riddick as their backup goalie. Now, not a lot was added to this team. You know, some people getting re-signed like Tolvainen and UC Saros, but you know, nothing really too big. Now, there's of course some rumors circulating about Philip Forsberg and Matthias Ekholm and what they're going to do next with those guys, because this team sort of is in like the tweener set right now. They don't know what they really want to do, whether they want to, you know, push for a playoff spot or to rebuild and retool this team, which honestly, I would say rebuild this team, just because, you know, Yossi's only getting older, Ekholm's only getting older, your two best defensemen, you know, they're getting older. You have some bad contracts with Johansson and Duchesne and Philip Forsberg, who, not a bad contract with Philip Forsberg, it's just, what, like, I don't know, like, are you going to be able to sign him back on the team, and would it be worth it just to trade him, right? That's the biggest thing. But we're not going to be talking about those guys. You know, nothing has happened just yet with those guys. They're still in the Nashville Predators. We'll see what really happens. I would like to see them, you know, maybe get traded away, just because this team, I don't think is going to be a playoff team. They didn't make it to the playoffs. Oh no, they did. They did make it to the playoffs this year. They did like really push in right at the last second to be pushed into the playoffs, right? If I'm correct on that. Because I'm pretty sure they did make it into the playoffs. Yeah, they faced off against the Carolina Hurricanes and actually pushed back quite well. They actually didn't play that bad against the Carolina Hurricanes. You know, there were some games where I thought this team actually could be a very solid team, you know, just with a little bit more added depth. You know, the biggest thing that is carrying them down, though, is Johansson and Duchesne's contracts. But they still do have $11 million in their cap space, so they still have a decent amount. And I think they're just being smart and saving up on it right now. But we'll get into all the trades that happened for this past offseason, which Mr. David Pulley was pretty busy. He traded away Victor Arvidsson, who was underperforming for the Nashville Predators and wasn't able to find his touch. And it was a smart idea to just send him off. You know, you weren't going to get a whole lot, but at least you got a second-round pick and a third-round pick in the end of it, and you were able to do some other stuff with that. Then next trade, which I thought this was an absolute fleece by the Philadelphia Flyers, where they got Ryan Ellis for Philip Myers and Nolan Patrick. Now, Philip Myers is still a very good-looking defenseman. Now, I'm going to show you guys his analytics. Now, make sure to go check out my man, Jfresh. His link will be down in the description below for his Patreon. I would definitely go check it out. He has some great analytics up on there. So, this is Philip Myers' analytics, and of course, you could see that he, you know, went down a little bit of a downtrend this year defensively, but he was relied on a lot this year defensively, and the whole Flyers team was crappy defensively, so of course you're going to probably see that decline in his game. But Philip Myers is still a very, very good defenseman who I think it could turn into a good two-way defender. His PK numbers are tremendous, a guy that could play in the second pairing, and once he's able to find his game, I think this guy is only going to go up from here, and I think Philip Myers could really be a strong defenseman for the Nashville Predators. It's just, is he going to be able to line up with Ryan Ellis? Ryan Ellis was a tremendous defenseman for the Nashville Predators, but they do get, you know, maybe a young future Ryan Ellis and Philip Myers. Who knows? And they also picked up Nolan Patrick, which then they flipped him in a three-way trade to the Vegas Golden Knights for Cody Glass, which is another player I quite like. A player that hasn't been able to find his game there in Vegas, and now he'll be coming over to Nashville to maybe potentially find his game, right? Wasn't able to really find it in the NHL, in the NHL. They were trying to force him up into there because they needed another guy, and Cody Glass was rumored to look NHL ready, and he just didn't seem like it. He wasn't able to get into it. He didn't bring his two-way game. He wasn't able to produce offensively. He seemed like he was able to play quite well in the AHL, so I'm quite excited to see what he'll be able to do coming over to the Nashville Predators. But this is a guy that I think, if he plays really good this upcoming season and becomes what he is truly supposed to become, this could be an amazing, amazing pickup for the Nashville Predators moving forward. So otherwise, they didn't do too much. There's some draft pick trading where they traded into the first round, which we'll now talk about their draft, which, you know, definitely wasn't the most amazing draft in the world this year. They got Fedor Svechkov and also Zachary Leroux. I'm probably going to butcher his name. But their draft actually wasn't terrible. Now, Zachary, he's had some discipline problems. He had a lot of suspensions down there in the OHL, being kicked out of games just for danger. I'm pretty sure it's dangerous hits, because he sounds, from what I'm hearing, he sounds like a tank. He legit is. The guy, he hits a lot. He's a very physical player. He plays with a lot of power. And then the Svechkov guy, I heard he is supposed to be an amazing two-way player, like one of the best in the draft. And if you're looking for players like that, which David Pulley always likes to aim for great two-way players, and if you're later on in the draft, those are the types of players you kind of want to aim for, right? So I really do like their draft. It wasn't the greatest draft later on, but, you know, the first 2 picks wasn't too bad. You know, Zachary's a bit of a gamble, but if he's able to find that discipline and still play with that power, he could be a really, really good player. And same with Svechkov, if he could continue to grow that two-way game. And I would like to see his stats right now in the KHL. And nothing in the past 2 games. And he's actually getting some KHL time this year as well, compared to last year where he didn't play. But in the World Junior Under 18s, he put up 10 points in 7 games. So is a future-looking guy that looks really, really good for the Nashville Predators. And you guys should be excited about him. Moving on towards the signings, which I don't think they really re-signed very many people before it. They signed majority of the people during it, from what it looks like. Yeah. So they got David Riddick. He left Calgary. Now will be with the Nashville Predators. A guy that, you know, was a good 1B. I think he'll be a perfect backup for UC Saros. Mikael Granlund, $5 million for the next 4 years. I don't think this is a bad, you know, signing for them. He's been a good second, third line player for them. He's been putting up some decent points, 27 points in 51 games. He did really well in the playoffs. He brings a decent two-way game. I think is a good, decent guy. I don't know if I would have signed him for $5 million for 4 years. I felt like that was big, an overpayment, but that's what he was going to be getting paid out in the market. There was a lot of, you know, teams looking for centermans, and Mikael Granlund could have fit on a lot of teams, so you had to pay the high price if you wanted to keep him on the team. And then otherwise, Dante Fabro signed a 2-year, $2.4 million deal, which, you know, is a really good deal for Fabro as well. Not bad. Young defenseman who's growing, showing some signs that he could be a really good defenseman. UC Saros, which I thought this deal was absolutely amazing. 4 years, $5 million. This is going to be a really good deal for the Nashville Predators. UC Saros will most likely be the starting goalie over the next few years now for the Nashville Predators until Askarov's ready. But the Nashville Predators got some real nice goaltending, and they always seem to get lucky with that. They had Pekka Rinne, and now they have Saros taking over, and then in the future they'll be having Askarov coming down the pipeline as well, which is just absolutely exciting. And then their last signing, they got Eli Tolvanen, who was his finishing ability is really, really up there, and it's actually his defensive ability is not that bad either. But he got a 3-year, $1.45 million deal, which I thought was an absolute steal for Tolvanen, especially if he's able to get into that, you know, goal scoring mentality and really become the player that they really wanted him to be. You know, he put up 22 points in 40 games. He looks like he could be a really, you know, good player for the future for the Nashville Predators. So getting him on a nice deal like this, I think is real smart, and you don't have to deal with arbitration, I don't think either. So that's nice as well. And then moving on to the depth charts here for the Nashville Predators, this is how the team will look. And, you know, honestly, the team doesn't look that bad. I mean, realistically, you don't want Rocky Grimaldi playing on your second line, but, you know, the team doesn't look that bad. There is some nice positives with the team. Cody Glass, if you could play really good, you could have him move up the lineup, right? I mean, there could be a lot of things that go right. Do I see this team making it into the playoffs? No, but for the fact that UC Stars, if he plays really good in this defensive core could be really, really quiet and really, really deadly this upcoming season. Yossi Alexander Carrier finished out the year really, really hot. I thought he was great during the playoffs. Matthias Ekholm and Philip Myers. Philip Myers is a really good defenseman, and he's developing, and he gets to play alongside of Matthias Ekholm. That's great. Borowicki, Dante Fabro, Matthew Benning. They got a lot of good defensemen, and you got a good goaltending tandem. That could take you to places. Now, you're in a tough Central Division, which will be, you know, the hardest part of that, but I think this Nashville Predators team, they have a chance to really make a nice, not really a playoff run, but they could potentially make it into the playoffs just because of this defensive core alone. And if they get this forward core improving, I mean, they could have a lot of things go right. If Cody Glass starts lighting it up and Tolvanen starts playing really good, this offensive core looks really, really good. But they got to have a lot of things going good for them, and they got to get Cody Glass going, and they got to get Tolvanen going, and maybe even Duchesne. Like, you would have to get one of those other guys that you're paying $8 million to play good to actually play good. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I'm going to end the video here. But before I do, I'm going to give this team, I got to say, I'm going to give them an A-. This offseason was pretty damn good. The trades that they did, they really didn't lose out on. I mean, the Ryan Ellis one was a bit rough. That's why they get an A-. But they still picked up really good players in Philip Myers, who is young, Cody Glass, who has the potential to be a really good player. They got UC Saros to a nice deal, David Riddick to a nice deal. Everyone that they signed was to real nice deals, but for Mikael Granlund. So I'm going to give him an A-. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you would give this, grade for the Nashville Predators offseason. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.